aft cabin. This is the door to underneath the sink, and it's surrounding woodwork. It's not wood. That's as I explained. This is teak stickum paper over the top of plywood. So anyway, working next on doing some nice mahogany. This is the mahogany ply I bought. I'm going to be able to do almost all of everything you see here, even laminating, out of this one piece. This is left over after doing all the mahogany in the forward cabin, the V-berth, if you want to call it that. So anyway, going to be able to do most of it right there. But then over here, right in my own light here, I'm out in the garage. It's my old Honda. Anyway, out in the garage, this is the panel that goes for the what used to be the refrigerator cabinet right across from that on the port side. And this is, I'm certain, nothing more than a cut off and redone kitchen cabinet is all it is. I mean, you can see that the top part of it with the beveled edges and all this kind of stuff, the raised panel. Well, all they did was cut that off and then take a piece of this woodwork, the same woodwork here, and stuck it onto the bottom. I think it literally is just glued on. So anyway, and by the way, it's been servicing very nicely in the cabin for who knows how many years. But that's coming out. I'm going to do some mahogany and have it looking really nice. I think I may buy some Meranti and do that frame. I can Meranti is a kind of poor man's mahogany, and being inside, and it's not going to be subject to external anything. I'm gonna build a frame. I used to build picture frames professionally, and as an artist, I still build my own picture frames for the artwork that I do. So anyway, that's all going to be redone with I think a brand new Meranti frame, and then do a panel out of this. And look at this stuff, would you? This is mahogany, and it's insane because what this is, what they did, when they cut the mahogany, they just well, I don't know what they call it, matchbooked it. It's perfect match side to side, and it's got this crazy swirl pattern down here. And I'm thinking about just grabbing a portion of that and making that the center of this panel over here. That'd look really neat to have that kind of match flame look, you know, as part of that panel. I don't know how I'm going to do that over here. Maybe do this similar thing with this door, but I've got all this plywood here that I can use for doing the lamination, and maybe use some of this other stuff for doing the showy part, the actual door perhaps. So we'll see. That's all in the plan. I'm going to start cutting probably. Friday is my day off, so I probably won't get to this till Friday. It's really cold out here in the garage, but you know, it's all undercover, and I got my table saw right here, and got all my measurements written down of what everything is as far as the doors and the panels they fit into. And the only thing I need to do is go make a trip over to my awesome lumber company that I've got here locally, where they sell exotic hardwoods and some really nice stuff over there, and I'll pick up some nice poor man's mahogany for the frame on this, and we'll kind of go from there. So this is interesting stuff, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know, finishing out the interior on my sailboat with some of this stuff. Okay, we'll see how that all goes. I had Sharon out here earlier helping me to support the rest of all this big old panel as we cut off 9.5 inches from this side over here. That gives me the opportunity to go ahead and cut off just 17 inches of this section here and over here, which will enable me to center up this flame looking thing that's going to be the center of the door panel for underneath the what used to be the refrigerator. That I had a large panel door that was done a long time ago. There was nothing but a kitchen cabinet, as I've already shown you. So anyway, I'm getting ready to cut this. I've got the fence already set at 17 inches, which will give me just right to go ahead and just about split this line here, right here, split this line, and then from there I can handle it once it gets smaller. The beauty of it is, now that I've cut that 9.5 inches off from this right hand side, it means that as I push this through the table saw, which is right behind this, as I push this through the table saw is going to support this left-hand side over here. I don't have a big old hunk hanging out in space the way I had to have my wife holding on to it last time. So anyway, getting ready to do this. I'll cut this, and then we can move on and cut this panel. I went out and bought the Marante this afternoon. I'm going to be cutting the picture frame, or the frame for the door, the cabinet door, this evening probably. And we'll kind of go from here, but I'm really glad that Sharon helped me with that, because I couldn't be doing this by myself. The beauty of it is, now that 9.5 inches is cut off, everything will support, and I can just kind of push it on through, and hopefully it doesn't jam on me. It's time to take this one out of the clamps. This is the door for the cabinet underneath the sink on the boat. And one of the things that you start with right from the beginning is the lower level. When you're laminating, the bottom level of laminate, just get a really complete, I mean, there was not a single centimeter of the bottom layer that wasn't completely covered with a nice thorough layer of glue. But then when you put your dress coat, and that's this one with the flame on it, this is what's going to be showing out into the cabin. Once you put that on and in place, it's really important to try to square it up and make sure that everything is nice and even around the edges. This is almost perfect here. This is almost perfect over here. Anyway, there's a little bit of, a little bit of problem with it. Not problem, a little bit of unevenness here on this bottom edge. But I'm not going to worry about it, because what I'm going to do is take my sanding block and just completely even everything up when I'm ready. But after you get everything laminated, it's really important to make sure that you're gluing pressure down on the surface, and be careful you don't get any glue on. This is your dress. This is what you're going to be putting varnish on. Don't let any glue get on that, because you're going to have problems if you do. So anyway, I try to make sure right from the center out that there's pressure, so that all around the outside edge and even into the center, that everything is clamped and put in such a way that you got a nice even flow of glue out of the piece, and it really came out great this time. I was just almost perfection. So anyway, time to take it out of the clamps and move on. I've got another one to glue up right after this. It's the back portion of this that this door fits into, that it hinges on. So that's my next thing. This comes out of the clamps. This is what I mean by complete coverage. Every single little bit of this sublaminate is covered. This is a little thin right here, and I'm going to remedy that really quick. But the thing is, once you get going with this, and obviously I'm using this wide spatula for spreading, but once you get going on this and you start laminating with your clamps and blocks on top, it all gets really spread out and starts coming right out the edges. So it's just about as thorough of a lamination as you can possibly get. Anyway, just wanted to show you, because I've never done that before, show the actual glue coverage after getting it on here. It's a lot of glue. You go through a lot of glue, but that's why I went out and bought another big container today, so I can finish all of the work that's got to be done on getting these cabinet doors done for the boat. So here is the unstained, unvarnished, but already laminated door. and future frame. I'll show you here. This is the book matched mahogany I was talking about in the videos and so forth. Anyway, so this is going to be hinged, but I'm going to use brand new hinges. These are the old ones here, off from the old unit, and they're the kind that reach down. Let me pull up like this. Come on. There we go. They go down under like that. And I don't know. I don't know if I'll do that or not. I'm really tempted to get something a little nicer. Little, you know, newer and nicer than these things look like old cabinet hinges that I don't think they're original to the boat, and I don't like them. So anyway, I think I'm going to do something different with the hinges over here. And then as far as the latch on this had a reach through. Let me see if here it is. This is plastic. I've banged it out of there last night, and that's plastic. I could do the same thing. I've got a 1-inch hole saw, you know, to drill it out, and I could put that in there in the new one, and right in here, and then do the same reach through. But the old unit that's the reach through, and it works. Okay, see, it's spring loaded, but you can tell this thing is probably original to the boat. It's incredibly corroded, and like I said, and I think it'd probably clean up. It's still functional. Here's the little catch to it on that fits on the frame, that the hook fits over the little catch like that, you know. But I don't know. If I use it, obviously I've got to get those screws out of there. They're so incredibly rusted from being in the old plywood, the backside of this, that I'm really tempted to even go there, maybe something a little different. So anyway, but that's what we're up against. That's what we're going to be doing. We remounting all new, probably all new hardware on this door, and I've already got this set up. Let me get this off from here momentarily. Okay, you see, I've already got the line set up. This is 1 5/8 all the way around. That's what the original is over here, 1 5/8 all the way around. And it's an easy thing. I mean, you set up your fence on your table saw at 1 5/8, and very carefully set this in place, and you can just lower it down onto the saw blade as it's going, and it cuts through right on the line, or just, you know, so that you leave your line, and then you end up with a nice, neat, precise cut. The thing about it is, you don't want to go all the way out to the end of your line. You know, just let the saw blade come up to pretty close, and then finish it with a hand saw, so that it comes all the way out to the corner. That way you don't end up with a circular saw cut that goes back into the meat. About done anyway. My cell phone camera just suddenly shut off on me. I was saying that you don't want your circular saw cut going back into the meat of the frame, and that's about it. Other than that, you know, this is what we're working with, and I'm going to be heading for the Cape next Thursday, and I'd like to be able to get the mechanics of this whole thing done before that. Have the door mounted and all that. The big door that goes under the other cabinet, I'm going to try to get that one done too, but boy, I'm really pushed for time here. I got to get to study and finish up my preparation for tomorrow. I'm a minister, and I got a lot of studying to do for my Bible class and my sermon tomorrow. But anyway, getting there. This is all laminated, all ready to go. I've got some really nice mahogany, and I think it's going to come out great. I think it's going to look pretty. This is the backing panel for the small door underneath the sink on the boat, and I just finished cutting this. What I did, I very carefully set up this saw ahead of time so that it's perfectly square, you know, vertical to the table. And then I set my distance at 1 5/8 inches, which is exactly what the frame distance was on this, the original one. And then what I really did, I just carefully got this back here, put it against the fence, and lowered it onto the blade so that, until it came through. And then I cut it forward and backward until I left myself about a ½ an inch on each end, all the way around. Not cutting all the way into the corner so that you're not cutting into the meat of the frame itself. And then as soon as I was done with all that, I came back with a back saw. This is a nice, I love this old back saw of mine. It's really nice and sharp. And I used the outside edge here of the frame to just place the back saw against and cut nice and clean along the edges. And lo and behold, you know, it's all cut, and I haven't even lifted this out here yet. I think we're clear. And let me just kind of see if we can just drop this out. Yep. There we go, and there it is. There it is. You know, you can see it still took a little bit of a bite out of the frame a little bit there, but anyway, it'll all square up and sand up very nicely. And this is ready to be finished, sanded, and this is the back frame to that door underneath the sink on the boat. So anyway, just. Thought I'd throw that little instruction in there as to how to do that without tearing things up. And always, by the way, do it from the back side. This is the front side, so it's coming through. This is a nice sharp plywood blade, so it's getting a nice clean cut as it go forward and backward to get your cut in on the frame.